Ladies and gentlemen, I'm back here with Carl, and it's this is going to be like it's cold season out there for many people. I know for me in Texas, we always complain about the heat. It's 110 degrees here, but then when that winter hits, it's shocking. It's there. I got heaters in the back porch and all that stuff.
Yeah, we get cold fronts. We had the ice apocalypse a little while ago.
Yep, it's a strange experience. That's my Texas story. But for those of you that are all over the United States, and listen, we're in other countries too, I want to talk to you about one breakthrough I had. One change you make can make a massive difference, and it's all because of my conversations with Dr. Jordan Rubin and Ancient Nutrition. I'm going to tell you what this is, and then we're going to bring Dr. Rubin on. I've got advice, which is don't start the day with coffee. It's a little thing, but I was a coffee guy. I mean, I start the day with a carafe of coffee, like an intravenous of coffee.
Fresh
and
pots.
then I get dehydrated. Then people would say, are you dehydrated? Are you dehydrated? Then I drink water. Then my head was getting clear again, and I have to do broadcasts every day. I got to be thinking. Then at night sometimes. So then I found out you could start with a hydration drink. And so then Annabelle, I got a great wife. We're on 40 years this year. We'll be married 40 years. And she brings me my cup of hydrated. And I'm drinking the hydration drink. I feel like $1 million. I want to bring Dr. Jordan Rubin in and talk about the one problem I've got. Dr. Rubin, here's my problem. I'm sold on this hydration drink. And then you had a tub. I used to have like a big vat of hydration. And so now I'm traveling. I travel sometimes 20 days in a month. And I'm putting the powder into these baggies. Mm-hmm. I look like I'm a drug smuggler, and I'm explaining to people going through TSA, this is my hydration, and I'm explaining how good it's going to be for them. But you've come up with a way of being able to package this so I get rapid hydration in a little packet. But I want you to explain what you've been doing with this, because it's been the biggest change in my life. It's not starting the day with coffee, but starting at getting hydrated. Take it from there.
Well, first of all, Lance and Carl, we have to understand what truly hydrates you, because people would answer water, and water is very, very important. But I'm going to ask both of you this. When we perspire, does our sweat or tears taste like water? And I know it's kind of gross to think about it, but look, we can perspire, and people taste tears, and they know what perspiration tastes like.
It's
what
salty.
Does it taste like?
It tastes
it's
like
salty.
water. Yeah,
Very
water
salty.
from the Dead Sea.
Really, really salty. And so when we are losing moisture, it is always coming along with minerals. So this is a very logical way to think about it. If we are perspiring and losing, a gallon of fluid every single day, do you know that even when you breathe and respirate, you're losing fluid? But all of the fluid is salinated. It contains salt. And those salts, primarily sodium, potassium, magnesium, and calcium, also chloride, those are the 5 principal electrolytes. That is what you're using, or losing, I should say. Mm-hmm. So here's something that people don't understand. When you drink lots of purified water, low in minerals, especially if it's distilled water, reverse osmosis water, the purest tasting water, soft water, it is devoid of minerals. And the more of that you drink, you're replacing water, but you are actually becoming more dehydrated in a way because you are losing electrolytes. And what do electrolytes do for the body? The name electric should give you an idea, because I would argue that electrolytes are the spark plug or the battery of your cell, which is the smallest part of you. We're made up of cells. Mm-hmm. And the battery that charges the cell is made up of electrolytes. And I'll take it a step further. Sodium is important. I know it gets a bad rap. Less salt, salt's bad. But sodium is important to transport water and nutrients in your cell. So you need it. Helps you absorb water and nutrients better. Potassium is like a dump truck. It pulls water that is stagnant or needs to be recycled with waste out of your cell. Sodium and potassium have a dynamic relationship. And while many people consume too much salt in their food, especially if it's fast, ultra processed food. We're talking about unprocessed, high quality sea salt in both sodium and potassium form, along with calcium, along with magnesium, containing chloride. That helps you hydrate. So, Lance, when you say I'm consuming hydration every morning, you're consuming electrolytes, which are minerals, which immediately help jumpstart your body, not in a way that caffeine would. It's not like whipping a dead horse or exciting your central nervous system. You are simply putting in what you've lost overnight. Because, by the way, I said when we respirate, we lose fluid and minerals. When you're sleeping, you wake up in the morning naturally dehydrated.
Right.
And the first thing that I consume in the morning is electrolytes. I swallow my probiotics with my electrolytes because I know that that's what I have lost over the night. And believe it or not, I consume electrolytes before I go to bed and first thing in the morning. A lot of people are restless. They have restless legs. The number one reason is a mineral deficiency. Some people, they have their heart flutter or have a irregular heartbeat. What do you need? You need a jump start with electrolytes. So I do it.
Wow.
When I go to sleep, when I wake up in the morning, when I'm in my sauna, when I exercise. And I always make sure to get real electrolyte minerals because I want to put back everything I've lost, not simply water, which is good, but is not the complete picture.
So the truth is that depending on what water I'm drinking, I could be drinking like I got one of those Kangen water things at home. You know, it talks to me in Japanese. It goes, Kangen water 8.5. It's, I don't know why it's a
That's
Japanese.
English.
Oh, it's English. Anyway, but it sounds anyway. So, it's so stripped. I got filters on top of filters because I have another guy who comes along and says, let me pre-filter it. I have no idea if I'm getting minerals in the water. I mean, for all I know, I'm getting the most. Is it possible that people could be drinking this water that is not carrying any of the minerals?
Yeah.
Most people do. When I was a kid, my parents were obsessed with distilled water because it's the purest source of water. And that is called hungry water because it removes minerals. Now, the machine you're talking about, Lance, is an alkalizing water machine. And in many cases, it removes minerals from the water. And the water typically will contain more of the calcium and magnesium and silica, not necessarily sodium and potassium. And we've been warned over the years now to not salt our food as much. You'll know if you are electrolyte deficient pretty simply. If you will do what I say and take electrolytes before bed and first thing in the morning, if you start to just generally feel better and more alive, then you had an electrolyte deficiency that no manner of coffee is going to fix, because coffee doesn't give you the minerals that your body has excreted overnight and during the day.
Right.
So are you saying that the rapid hydration, which you've got a lemon lime flavor, and you've got these that I can carry onto the plane in little packets now? I don't know what you call them, but now I can finally take these packets with me into an office or into a meeting instead of having a baggie with a spoon, which is looking a little bit awkward. But this will work. But I could take it at night before I go to bed and in the morning.
I think number one is the morning.
The
evening is something I do because I know that I have lost electrolytes during the day. Mm-hmm. And I know when I wake up, I have lost them during that, 6, 7, 8 hour time frame. But you brought something up interesting about flying. I think everybody realizes you are the most dehydrated when you are on a plane because of the pressure and the altitude. Mm-hmm. And also, if you gentlemen have ever been hiking in a place that is much higher altitude than you're used to living in Texas, or I am in Tennessee or Alabama or Florida where I used to live, that elevation will always make you more dehydrated. One of the best things you can do on a plane, when they give you the water, I always ask for it without ice so that I could potentially mix something in it, but open one of those packets and add it to your beverage. Here's what I'm going to challenge you to do. When you drink water in a day, and some people like to drink 8 glasses or 16 glasses, which is a gallon, I highly recommend that you have at least a half to a full teaspoon equivalent of salt for every gallon of water you drink, because the water we consume is mineral depleted, and we are creating a deficiency. Remember what I said earlier. In order to even absorb water properly, you need electrolytes. Now, let's be clear. The main source of electrolytes should be your food and your beverages. But we are deficient in certain electrolytes like potassium, magnesium, and calcium because we eat a crummy diet. When you consume a hydration or electrolyte formula, you are replacing what you've lost with clean, unprocessed sources of minerals. In fact, we source our salt from the sea, and we source our calcium and magnesium from red algae, which is in the ocean. And we add coconut water, which is the water inside the coconut shell in the meat, which has become so popular. That is the richest source of potassium on the planet and a great way to absorb those electrolytes.
All right. So, and I know Carl was going to want to jump in and we only have 8 minutes. I don't know where the time goes, but people got to know about this because they're already bothering me. They're blowing up the phone here. LanceWallnau.com/fuel. LanceWallnau.com/fuel. And you can go ahead and I'm going to talk to you about not only the hydration product, but I want to talk about the digestive enzymes, because we got to break down food efficiently, prevent bloating, help the body process nutrients. So there's this last meal of the day. I want to make sure that it's digesting properly so that when I wake up the next morning, I'm not dealing with unfinished business from the day before. Talk to me about, you put these two products together. There's a strategy you're thinking about. Talk about the digestive enzymes, because I never understood this, but I have my gallbladder out, and all of a sudden I'm taking these enzymes for 4 years now, and sometimes before, sometimes after. I forget to take them sometimes. Talk to me about what they're doing.
Well, I can tell you, Lance, from a previous conversation of one of our favorite comedians, if you do have your gallbladder removed and you do not take the digestive enzyme lipase to break down lipids or fats, you will definitely be pulling, schlepping. Your ear might hurt, but not when you do this. You could be in a real mess. You could be verblunged, fachatted, famished, all of the Yiddish stuff we talked about. But in reality, Lance, you need digestive enzymes because your gallbladder was responsible, and those who have a gallbladder is responsible for digesting fats and oils. Your pancreas produces enzymes to break down other foods. Your upper digestive system produces acids, which help break down proteins. So every day we eat a variety of foods, and any food that you consume, like protein or carbohydrates or fats, have a corresponding enzyme. So here's an example. The sugar in milk is called lactose. In order to break down lactose, there's an enzyme called lactase. If you eat starches like in potatoes, corn, wheat, they contain amylose. That's a type of starch. In order to break it down, you need the enzyme amylase. Anything with an ASE is an enzyme. When you eat protein, you need proteases to digest the protein. And you are not what you eat, folks. You are what you digest. And what you don't digest can and will be held against you. And that's what you're referring to, Lance, in terms of being bloated or bloaty, as you said before. Gas, burping, all of that is the result of the creation of these substances due to undigested food that gets to your colon. When you consume digestive enzymes, they help you break down protein, carbohydrate, fat, fiber, dairy, beans, legumes, and more. There is an enzyme for every food you eat. We have provided a comprehensive blend. And listen, my wife and I went out to dinner last night for her birthday, and this is typical for us. So we get the menus, And then I will either under the table or right over the table hand her enzyme capsules. I went out to dinner with my family. By the way, these are healthy restaurants. We eat healthy food even when we go out to eat. However, I don't know what oils they cook in. I don't know everything about the food. I don't know if there's something in there that I'm not used to eating. So I make sure that we all consume digestive enzymes, even if we're eating healthy foods. And there's a lot of foods that are complex, like pizza. We talked about that, gentlemen, off the air. Pizza has protein from the cheese, a little bit of lactose, carbohydrate from the crust, and even the tomatoes have certain compounds known as lectins, plant compounds. When you take a broad spectrum digestive enzyme with your food, either before or after you eat, you are going to digest more and have less levels of discomfort. Plain and simple.
And look, I got to say this because my staff came running out, and they're more into this, and maybe, Carl, you're into this too. Evidently, that the enzymes are indispensable. I'm so sold on enzymes, I want to take them now, even though I haven't eaten anything. I feel like I've been negligent. Now, I've been backsliding on the enzymes, but now I'm urgent. I'm making sure I'm taking them and traveling with them. That's the other thing, traveling with them. But the sugar, I wanted to get this in here because a lot of the, we're going to bundle these together. LanceWallnau.com / what is
Fuel.
it? It's
Fuel.
Fuel, Fuel. Get a hold of this combination because they work synergistically. But the sugar, I was going to make a note here. A lot of the hydration products have sugar in them, and sugar it's not good, is it?
Or synthetic sweeteners as well. Yeah, there's a lot of additives in a lot of those hydration and energy drinks and what have you.
And sugar, just because you're a genius of this stuff, you talk about salt, and it makes me rethink salt because you're not supposed to have it. Then I realize you're supposed to have the right kind of salt. How about sugar? Does sugar serve a good purpose?
Well, let me tell you this. The Bible talks very highly about salt, right? We're the light of the world, the salt of the earth. But if salt loses its saltiness, it's not good for anything but to be thrown in the dung pile, which, believe it or not, salt's actually a good fertilizer. There's nothing in the Bible that talks about sugar, particularly added sugar, other than God seems to like honey quite a bit, as do I. But the problem with sugar in sports drinks, if they're ready to drinks, or in hydration packets, that is added sugar stripped of all its nutrients. It can be immune suppressive. It can imbalance your blood sugar. And so these hydration packets that you're getting, these electrolytes, are naturally sweetened with stevia, which is an herbal sweetener, and there is natural sugar, a very small amount from coconut water, which is slightly sweet. So you are getting virtually no sugars, whereas some competing products would have 8 grams, 10 grams, 12 grams, like you were talking about, Carl, and others. And I know this because my kids play sports and their friends are consuming these hydration drinks that have sucralose, which is an artificial sweetener, acesulfame K, which is an artificial sweetener, or aspartame. Those have a detrimental effect on the gut. You don't need sugars. You don't need artificial sweeteners. All you need is the electrolyte minerals and some natural sweeteners that are non-caloric. That is always going to be your best bet for performance.
Well, we only have 1 minute left. I'm sorry about that. So I know that you do coaching. Is there any questions you want to ask the doctor while he's here?
Oh, there's a ton. But the one that I think would be kind of fun, we're talking about how this is, the fuel bundle. If you were going on a road trip, just kind of, doing a fantasy question, a theoretical question, what would be the snacks or the fuel that you would get along the fuel stops to ensure that you're adequately energized and getting all of your necessities met along that trip?
Well, that's a great question. I'm going to do one better, Carl. I would start before my journey by eating a meal that has healthy fats along with carbohydrates, because the fats will burn longer and better. So people talk about carb loading. I actually would prefer to fat load. And I have adapted my body to not eat over periods of time because I practice fasting regularly. But that being said, if I were to consume snacks, I always like to consume some kind of meat stick to keep my protein up And if I'm going to consume something that needs, let's say, to be shelf stable, I would go for some really good dried fruits. Dates are amazing because dates, and you all know this from the Middle East, dates actually are ripe and dried on the tree. They're non-perishable. They're a great source of carbohydrates. Any dried fruit that is sugar and sulfite free is good. But I would say some kind of fruit, some kind of nuts or seeds. I like seeds better than nuts usually. And some type of meat stick that has a little bit of fat in it for that energy. And you can get these all at your local grocery or health food store. What I stay away from, Carl, is traditional trail mixes because they often have unhealthy oils, added sugars, and can be loaded with chemicals and colors, believe it or not. Some people just assume because it's trail mix or a granola bar that it's healthy. I would absolutely not consume
Oh my gosh.
a granola bar. I don't need
You're
excess
ruining
sugars,
my whole
starches.
day. My whole day is shot now. I get on a plane when I'm hungry. I get off, I go get a granola bar, and I go get a trail mix.
And he thinks he's doing the healthy option.
And you know they have the little
But
M&Ms
there
in
are
there.
healthier
I know the
versions, but
M&Ms are
by
no
and
good.
large, they're sugar bombs.
They
Sugar
are all
bombs.
right.
And there are. You're right. There are M&Ms in trail mix. But isn't it interesting though that people assume that granola bars are healthy because people will say somebody is crunchy or granola, but the truth is granola might be a pretty unhealthy food for most people, depending on how it's made. Unhealthy oils, highly processed. I know it's sad. I'm sorry. I ruined some of your day.
You're ruining my day.
Get some meat sticks. Get some meat sticks. Make your own nuts and seeds.
And you know how Jewish people
get some dates.
You know as well as I do, Jewish people are obsessed with fiber. You guys get some fiber in your diet. So I'm thinking my granola bar is giving me fiber. I realize it's a big assumption. I'm not even going to let you rebuke me on it. I can tell by your expression that it's not. I'm inaccurate. There's no fiber in the granola bar. It's sugar.
There could be a little bit, but they're not easy to digest, and they use usually bad oils. And again, I know that people think that's healthy, but education is so key. And I do want to point out and say this, Lance, because and Carl, we're all very excited about what I would say is going to be the golden age of our country coming up here. And I want to talk about this on a future program. We're seeing a lot of information in mainstream media about the MAHA movement, Make America Healthy Again.
Yes, sir.
And we have to turn the clock back 70 years to find a time when America was truly healthy, at least as healthy as we want to make it. And part of that is making better food choices. But all of this is predicated upon education. And if you think granola bars are healthy, and if you think chicken nuggets are a food group, and if you think soda is, it's only what you drink, it's not going to cause any challenges. These are falsehoods, lies that have been indoctrinated into you through the media, both conscious and subconscious messaging. And now we're seeing newly appointed or nominated leaders in government that are going to pull the wool off of our eyes. And we're going to start to see that what some of us, quote unquote, health nuts have been talking about could actually be the answer to reversing the obesity epidemic, the diabetes epidemic, the childhood disease epidemic, and let's face it, mental disorders, depression, anxiety, dementia, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, autoimmune disease. So I have to say, because this is the first program we've done since some of these nominations have been made, I am so bullish on the future of our health. And I'm excited. And I want, Lance, you and Carl and your team to start asking me these kind of questions at every program, because we need to incrementally build our knowledge base, because you can't turn a big ship, immediately. And our country's food machine, big food, big
so
pharma,
true.
big ag.
It's so true. And you know what?
It's an insurmountable if we don't do it in bite-sized pieces.
But let me get back to our original conversation, folks. It starts with the hydration in the morning. Please hear me. I'm slow on this. I'm an older man, but this hydration, I wake up. I get those electrolytes. Now I realize it's the electrolytes. And my brain is sharp. I'm thinking. I don't have the brain fog. And you need me a cup of coffee. And I'll do the coffee. I'm going to tell you that I'll do the coffee later. But I start with hydration. But now the enzymes. Boy, am I going to take that so much more seriously, because I recognize I've got to break that food down. You want to get the bundle, the Flow and Fuel bundle for this month. Go to lancewallnau.com/fuel. If you're on Instagram or Facebook, just put the word fuel in there. You want to get these packets that you can take with you anywhere.
Oh, yeah.
And you want to be able to get these digestive enzymes so that when you're at the restaurant, when you're eating out, you're not at home for a couple meals a day. You're like me. I'm working on the road. I'm working on the office. I'm working on the plane. We have to be able to bring these with us. And I wish we had more time. We're just going to have to get you back, Jordan, to talk more, because these hydration packs and these enzymes, I think they're a travel kit. They're like necessary to have. And there's a couple of other products you guys have that I think are going to keep us healthy. But this is the bundle I'm focusing on now, because if you're not doing, I got to say this one thing, and then I know I got to stop. Do you know the other thing you told me that was so interesting? You don't have to eat the big breakfast. When I grew up, it was always breakfast, the most important meal of the day. The breakfast, without a breakfast, you have to have that breakfast. If you're not hungry, you don't have to eat the breakfast. Did you not teach me that? Isn't that true?
If you're not hungry, you shouldn't eat, in fact. And you should never eat before you hydrate, because you might not actually be hungry. You might just be thirsty or dehydrated. So I would tell people, anytime you're tempted to eat, make sure you're fully hydrated, because we mistake hunger signals when they really should be thirst and hydration signals. But the reason people say breakfast is the most important meal of the day is because it has been sponsored by cereal companies, plain and simple. Before my grandmother died, I talked about my grandmother from Poland. I asked her what she ate from a meal perspective, and it was always in the morning. If she ate anything, she grabbed an apple. She grabbed a piece of bread and sopped, dipped it in something, probably schmaltz, which was rendered chicken fat from the soup. The biggest meal was always later in the day when they were done working, studying, hunting, pulling and schlepping, as we said. But in reality, people didn't have the luxury to sit down and eat these huge breakfasts. And right now, skim milk, sugary processed cereal for breakfast is basically ordering diabetes by lunch.
What in the world? I know.
Absolutely atrocious.
Yeah, no, it was a successful marketing campaign from Kellogg's. That's why we got that idea of breakfast is the most important meal of the day. And like you said,
Captain Crunch was killing us all these years. Sugar frosted flakes.
No one expects
tricks for
kids. Next, you're going to tell me that Mother's Day was created by a greeting card company. Oh, wait. Sorry, that's for another program. We love Mother's Day.
We love our mothers. All right. This is going to be our special Fuel and Flow bundle. I'm talking, people, you got to get the hydration and you got to get the enzymes. You're going to feel different. This is one of those things where it's not like, well, you look better or what's happening. This one you're going to feel right away. If you're at Instagram, if you're in Facebook, just put the word fuel. I'm going to send you a link, and Dr. Rubin has a special offer he's going to give you. Let's exit right here, because I'm going to keep on going with more subjects.
He's all fueled up now.
I mean, I am fueled up.
We need to be careful, because Carl and I are about to tell you, Lance, that Kellogg also created cornflakes to keep male libido down and ruin our species, because that was supposed to be a sin. So that's a little tease for next time.
Wait.
That's all we have time for today. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in.
All right, well, we're gonna have you back and discussing what in the world is going on.
It was a crazy time in America.
That was a crazy time. Okay.
It was the worst of times. It was the best of times. And now, see you next time.
And now it's great.
And I'll see you next. I'll see you next. Yeah, Tony the Tiger. What's going on with this? We'll see.
He was castrated. Nobody told you that.
Oh, man.
This is very sad news. So much for putting a tiger in your tank. I remember those ads from. All right, we're going to talk to you next time you're on, if we don't get canceled first. I'll talk to you later, Jordan.
Thank you,
everybody.
Well, you'll have to bring me up to date on that. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back again tomorrow. You don't want to miss a single day of this show because you never know. The last 1 minute could be the one cue dropping, or whatever they call it. Whatever the conspiracy theory of the month is, that could be the one you don't want to miss.
Non-conspiratorial.
Okay, yeah.
A matter of record.
I'm going to keep you and Jordan separated in the next interview.
It's Seventh-day Adventist propaganda.
Yeah.
Is what it is.
I'm still ending the show, Jordan. Will you let me end it? We'll see you again next week. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Did you enjoy this latest episode? Please remember to share it with your friends, because the more knowledge you have,